This could possibly be the most boring episode of the podcast so far. Welcome to HB RV Lifestyle, the podcast. I am the host, the Honey Badger, here to give it to you straight and transparent about the RV business, as well as other things. Now today I have a wide range of topics that I want to go over. It includes Spotify and the podcast and its future. There's some things to talk about as far as RV manufacturing. But where I want to start is I'm going to beat a dead horse. Because it seems to, the lies, the propaganda seem to be happening daily. There is no such thing as a motorhome sales ban. But I'm going to go one step further. The law in California that has been twisted by a bureaucracy called the California Air Resource Board has been in effect for 2 years. I'm going to repeat that one more time. The California Air Resource Board has had this law in effect that everybody's panicked about for 2 years. Let's see. Is California still selling motorhomes? Yes. Is Oregon still selling motorhomes? Yes. So the reality is this is a choice. Now let me go another route in this, okay? If Winnebago today, and I'm going to pick on Winnebago a little bit, but let's say Winnebago today comes out and says, hey, we're going to protest this law. We're sick of this law. We're not happy with the fact that 6 states have passed it. We're not happy about it, not because it doesn't affect us directly, but because it affects our OEM partners. We're going to protest and not sell any motorized product in those 6 states until the law is removed. That's breaking news. That's a truth. I would raise my hand, give everybody a high five at Winnebago, give a high five to everybody at any manufacturer that did it and said, amen to you. Good job. Because that's the truth. They're, instead of coming out and saying we're protesting, they want to come up with some twisted version that is simply untrue. And now I can tell by Google Trends, of all places, that the folks in New York are starting not to believe these RV YouTubers. If you go to Google Trends, there's a lot of people that are Googling the law that affects New York, the Clean Air Law. And they're starting to find out that all these RV YouTubers are full of absolute shit. Not all of them. But we'll say the supermajority of them, specifically the ones that are not actually attached to the RV industry. Now look, I've beat this part of this over the head like a dead horse, just beating it. But I'm going to go one step further. Ad revenue everywhere has really dried up. The economy's bad. The economy's not good. The economy's going to get worse in 2025. We haven't paid for our overspending yet as a nation, as a world. That all being said, I understand why these RV YouTubers are lying. I get it. I get the clickbait. I get the over-exaggeration. I get it. Money's drying up. Especially if they're full-time RVers. Those are the folks I feel the worst for. Because slowly but surely, it's become more important to the average American and Canadian family to figure out how to survive 2025 until the economy gets better than it is watching some folks camping and having a good time traveling the country. So what do? You come up with some twisted version of something so you can try to not have to go back to work. I get it. I'm 100% on board with that. I support that. I don't support you lying, but I support the fact that you want to stay on the road with your family. You want to stay on the road with your spouse. You want to stay on the road with your significant other or your life partner or whatever, attached word you want to put to that relationship. 100% on board with that. I understand, believe me, I truly understand and have seen, even though I'm a small meat and potatoes person, I've seen the reduction in how much money YouTube and TikTok and Instagram are paying average creators. Not everybody's on OnlyFans making $43 million exposing their body. So the reality is RV content right now is at the bottom of people's lists on YouTube. Now you go over to TikTok and it's a whole different scenario. But see, TikTok doesn't pay very well. I got 1 million views on my TikTok channel in November. 1 million. It's back-to-back months where I've got 1 million views on TikTok. Thank you to all my TikTok fans. I appreciate you. You know what it paid me? 2 million views? $400. I mean, the ad revenue's just not there. Okay? And the problem is this is where I give Liz Amazing a lot of credit, okay? She has figured out how to be consistent as a YouTuber, and the reduction in ad revenue and the reduction in views does not affect her. It doesn't. Maybe she quietly is having issues, but isn't really talking about it or isn't expressing it through advanced bullshit in her videos. She's staying consistent. While a lot of others roller coaster ride. Oh, we're in such and such an area and it's so beautiful. And I've got 1 million subscribers and only 2,000 people watched my video. It's because they don't care. Not right now. In a year from now, when the economy starts hopefully recovering, people will care again. I guarantee you in 2026, if these full-time RVers that have these big followings on social media, if they can find a way to survive without lying, without creating chaos, without twisting truths, if they can find a way to survive and not have to go back to work and not sell the rig and not get out of the social media platforms and continue the journey, it'll spike back up. It's a trend. RVs are a luxury trend. Okay, there's a peak and a valley to it. There's no steadiness to it. Which brings me, great segue into Spotify. So I've been getting some emails and letters in my P.O. box. Oh, by the way, real quick about my P.O. box. I've received 14 letters from you guys. Thank you. A lot of you have sent me some beautiful letters, cards. It was a lot wonderful. 2 of you, I don't know who the 2 of you are, but 2 of you did not put a return address or return name on the envelope. I kind of had a rule over the last 5 years, okay, because I had a bad experience opening up a letter when I was living in Ventura in the apartment where somebody sent me a letter that was handwritten envelope and it had a white powder substance on the paper and I freaked out. Okay. I completely freaked out. I called the cops. I called the post office. Sure enough, it was just sugar or some kind of like residue paper or something. It wasn't anything weird or nasty or anything like that. But I made a rule. If there's no return address, no return envelope, I don't care if there's $1,000,000 in there. It's going into the shredder. So, unfortunately, two of you sent me a letter. If you want to resend me the letter, you're more than welcome to. Just put a return address. Because I'm a little paranoid about that, okay? I have my paranoias like anybody else does. That being said, going back to it, some of you have also reached out by email, direct message. I even had an RV executive, RV factory executive, reach out to me through email and asked me when I'm going to go back on Spotify. And how this has all been coming about is a lot of you have been going through Spotify Wrapped. So if you guys go to your Spotify account, like I guess it wraps everything you deal with or listen to. And I guess a lot of folks really were like, hey, you haven't downloaded an episode since July. So here's quick about Spotify. January 1st, I'm going to record a special episode, probably around middle afternoon. And it's going to be uploaded to Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, and all the other platforms I was on. Okay. That being said, when I record an episode, more than likely I'm going to live stream it on YouTube. And then the sound part of it will re-upload later on that day. This will probably be the last month that I record my face and pre-record my face for this podcast. I'll still do it on the main channel because that's not a podcast, that's an education channel. But more than likely, because the way Spotify and all these things work, it works through an RSS feed. And we'll say that somebody sent me $100 to pay for the RSS feed. So, done deal. January 1st, gonna happen like clockwork. But what's cool about the feed I use, or the company I use that has the feed, it uploads the voice recording as a video onto YouTube. So you'll have the live version, and then you'll have the recorded version. So I'll probably still do shorts like I've been doing to promote the podcast, but it's going to be very, very different next year as far as I'm going to focus in on the main channel and growing the media company, which is a great segue into another subject. I have noticed in the 2 years that I have been doing this podcast that there is a legacy media or a mainstream media to the RV industry. There are a couple of really cool, talented, amazing independent media companies in the RV industry and in the camping industry, one of them being RVtravel.com. But there's not a mega media platform for the RV community, for the outdoors community. It's all corporatized. And what I mean by that is there's always like this trickle-down effect of money. Like, I'll give you an example. Anderson Hitches reached out to me to sponsor the main channel for me to become a brand ambassador. I like Anderson Hitches. I'm okay promoting Anderson Hitches. I'm okay. I don't know if that deal's ever going to come through, but if it did come through, I'm perfectly on board with doing that. But what I don't want to happen is I don't want a media company to be built on RV manufacturer money or Lippert money. Okay? I'm good with them paying for ads. Here's the thing. If they want to pay for ads, I'm good with that. If they want to pay for me to put a spot on my show for a new solar panel that's an LCI product or a new fangled suspension thing, whatever, I'm good with that. But we're not going to build this media company on the back of manufacturer money. The problem we have in this industry is that RVIA, RVDA, RVbusiness.com, a lot of these places are propaganda and special interest groups for the RV manufacturers and a lot of the OEMs of the RV manufacturers. There isn't somebody out there outside of, a couple people like RVtravel.com, outside of Dustin Simpson, outside of, some of the Facebook groups like Grand Design, the Grand Design groups like Grand Design, I can't remember, the Wests have that Facebook group. Grand Design Major Problems, there we go. I had to think about it. There's no middle ground or medium anywhere. And I've said this several times over the years. Everything's a piece of crap and everything's perfect. I mean, there's nobody coming out and saying, hey, I'm not a salesman. Now, I might go back to being a salesman, but when I sell on the back of knowledge of, okay, you want to spend only 15 grand on a brand new coach? Let me show you what you're going to get for 15 grand so you know what you're getting yourself into. And that way, when you go camping, the first thing you're not doing is calling me going, hey, it broke. Something always goes wrong. I always try to set people up. Something will go wrong on your first trip. It's how you handle it up here and in your heart. That's how you deal with it. So I always tell people, like, when you go out for your first trip, whether you buy used, whether you buy new, whether you buy private party, whether you buy from a dealer, your first trip should always be some local park, some local campground that's within 30 minutes of your house, maybe an hour outside your house, and just go run the systems and play for a day. You have to get it to go down the road and hit some bumps and bruises to double check everything's good. What you don't want to do is go 6-7 hours away from your house and all of a sudden find out your refrigerator doesn't work. Now, of course, I have videos about how to be prepared for that stuff, but it's still not a fun thing to go through. That's a great segue into the next thing I want to really cover in this episode. We have to stop yelling and screaming to the heavens about any product, that every product is a piece of crap. Yesterday is a perfect example. Guy comes up to me, we're talking, he's got a Ram 1500. He's talking about putting a truck camper in the back. A guy next to him says, oh, Ram's a piece of crap. They'll never hold that thing. And the guy says, no, Ford's a piece of crap. I've owned 2 or 3 Fords, and I switched to Ram. The other guy's like, oh, well, I switched to Ford because Ram motors kept blowing. A fact of the matter is, everything built, and it's not just RVs, it's cars, it's trucks, it's boats, it's your electric toothbrush, it's your refrigerator at home. Everything is not built perfectly and built to last. Okay? Specifically, especially when it's a moving part. Now, your household appliances in your home last a long time. But just imagine if your house is like all day, every day, shaking, moving. It was an earthquake every single day in your house. Earthquake, earthquake, earthquake. How long do you think your plumbing is going to last? How long do you think your chandelier is going to last? How long do you think your refrigerator is going to last? Not long. Right? So the reality is we need to expose problems. Even if they're the smallest problems. Let's say it's a water pump issue on an RV. It's a belt issue on a car. It's an electrical issue on a boat. It's a small one. Doesn't affect what you're doing in the moment, but it's a frustrating thing. Like, what the hell am I having to deal with this for? Those need to be exposed because people in general are going to still RV. People in general are still going to buy cars. They're still going to buy boats. The more information that you have, the more you know, okay, I know that X brand is going to have this problem, but my wife loves it. And I got to get her out camping. And it's the only thing I could find that she actually likes. There's a comment on my TikTok channel. I don't like Wolf Pup travel trailers. I think they're the worst piles of crap on God's green earth. He reaches out and he goes, does that include the Black Label? I said, yeah, anything by Wolf Pup. They're the worst single axle trailer out there. And so he tells me in the thing, he basically says that's the only thing him and his wife could find that she likes pretty much. I mean, that's the gist I got of it. And I'm like, I wrote back, instead of saying, oh, stay away, just keep shopping. My response back was, if it's the only thing she likes and that she can go out camping in, then just deal with the problems. Buy it, deal with the problems as they come, and go build memories. That's when people tell me, when I put a fifth wheel toy hauler on the worst list ever, and they say, well, I haven't had any problems with mine. Good. I never battle you. If you, let's say Heartland. I put Heartland as the worst fifth wheel toy haulers for 2025. I had 4 people go, I've never had a problem with mine. I've never had a problem with mine. Good. That's excellent. That's not an issue. That's actually great. Because not every single rig built is a pile of crap. And that's proof positive. I gave my professional opinion about certain rigs. And I gave my top 5 worst and top 5 best. And I still have to finish them. But let's be realistic. It doesn't mean everybody has a problem. Fact of life. I'm going to leave you with this. We as an industry, as a community, as a consumer, as a seller, as a buyer, all of it, we need to start treating each other with total respect. I'm starting to get not only comments, but just messages to me that how rude people are being, both on the consumer side, the private seller side, and the dealer side. Just because times are tough doesn't give people the right to be rude. Fact of life. In times where things are tough, we should be more accommodating for people, be more happy for people, be more excited for people. If one thing I learned in my experience of being on a walkabout, thank you, Lana, is I watch people walk over other people. You start seeing stuff like that. I've seen people that are sleeping on the streets and people walk over them, metaphorically speaking. And I'm like, that person needs some help. They're sleeping on a sidewalk in the middle of San Diego. The other day I was up in Santa Barbara. It's like, come on, guys. We should be helping each other, not dragging each other down. And, you know, the one thing I'm trying to put out to people too is integrity is a big thing with me. I've blocked probably a dozen people who have basically lost all of my respect because their integrity got shot because of either the way they're acting, the way their mission changed, or the way they behaved with either manufacturers or money or whatever the case may be. That being said, if you are a consumer advocate or you want to be a consumer advocate, you need to remember what the mission is. Okay? There's probably 2 or 3 dozen folks that I have spoken to over the last year, all of 2024, who start out wanting to be this advocate for people to help them get rigs fixed. Grand Design rigs fixed, Heartland rigs fixed, Jayco rigs fixed. There's a lot of folks out there that it starts out as, and I remember this, I was talking to this lady. She's a wonderful lady, but she now is on a mission to tear down the RV industry. I'm like, wait a minute. Your mission was to help people that are having problems with their air conditioners, because she's noticed a big trend when we were talking in the summer of air conditioners like going dead in the middle of summer with people living in them. And when her and I chatted about this, she started to reach out to Dometic and Norcold and all these, Coleman, all these air conditioner companies. And the mission for her was very simple. Get replacement air conditioners faster to these people that live in their rig in their desert. Get them warrantied. That was her mission. Now as the mission has come along, she's been tainted by that thing that sits there and gets pissed off and angry, because when you're a consumer advocate, or when you want to be a consumer advocate, all you're listening to all day is negativity. All you're doing is listening to people's problems all day. And so it twists you and turns you into this person that wants to go and attack everything. I no longer talk to her. And it's not because I don't think what she was doing was good. I think she was doing a great job. But her mission changed. Her mission was no longer about helping people. It was now about, I'm going to burn it down. I'm going to burn down Dometic. I'm tired of them. Every other day, somebody's got an air conditioner problem. Why do they build such a piece of crap? The federal government needs to step in and regulate these people. Let's see. I told her, she's a sweetheart. She's an absolute sweetheart. She lives in Maine. Absolute sweetheart. I told her when she originally told me that, I go, the federal government will never step in. I've told several people this. It doesn't mean stop complaining to them. You never know. Something might wake up in their heads. I'll give you an example. Grand Design RV will have a class action lawsuit built against them by some law firm at some point in time over the frame failure, frame flex thing. It's going to happen. They're doing the best they can on their end to try to prevent that from happening or to limit the damage. But go watch Aaron Brockovich. Nothing happens slow. That whole PG&E lawsuit, it dragged on for a while. This is another situation where eventually, I don't know who, I don't know when, I don't know, it could be currently happening. I don't know. But there will be a class action lawsuit over this frame failure and frame flex thing over the air conditioner thing with somebody, over slide seals, over all that stuff. There's going to be class action lawsuits before the federal government will ever even consider stepping in. But again, it doesn't mean don't stop complaining. Contact NHTSTA. Contact them. It's fine. That's what you're supposed to do. But realize nothing more than likely will come out of it. You can stay up their ass all you want. You can call every single day. And it ain't gonna do nothing. Because at the end of the day, guys, it's still government. And government is, especially in the United States, is run through a bureaucracy. And bureaucracies are held up by special interest groups. It's the same thing that's been going on for 200 years. It's the same thing that's been going on in other countries for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. I probably exaggerate a little bit with the hundreds of thousands, but for thousands of years, this has been a reality. So until next time, remember, toolkit and sense of humor.